Welcome to another edition of the Sim Racing Garage. I'm Barry Rowland, and in this episode, we'll be reviewing the latest air straighteners that come in the Sim Wing kits from Sim Racing Studio. They have updated the design of these units to increase the airflow speed coming from the tube sections of their wing kits and upgrade kits. You can also buy them as individual pieces. So, will this design change really increase the airspeed? We're going to put them through the SRG review process and find out. So let's get to it. So first, let's take a look at what you get on the original fan. Like if you just bought a fan, and this is the straightener, at least that's what SRS calls these, that comes on the bare fan, or not the bare fan obviously because it has straightener on it. So this has a conical shape to it, and from my other review, the original review of the SRS upgrade kit, this tube system that says double the fan power, we talked a little bit about this, but I'm just going to go over it real quick. And it has also a secondary cone in the middle here that has a hole in it, right? And that increases the power, obviously, of the air coming out of the fan itself. So when I first got this kit, obviously it comes with the two tubes, and it comes with the double fan holder back here. If you order it with that, you can order it without that, and it's, it's cheaper if you don't need this little holder back here, and it's easier to set up too. And it came with these two straighteners. This was attached to the fan. You can see it's just basically a big hole. There's really no, well, there's a little bit of conical shape to it there, if you can see that. And it has this lip on it. Well, not really a lip, but it has an extension to where you can actually push this tube back inside of here. That's how they have this mounted. So they're kind of like taking the tube and squishing it around a little bit. Let's see if I can make this happen real quick here, not waste a lot of time. Yes, there we go. I think it's popping in. So yeah, the tube will, anyway, didn't pop in that well. But anyway, the tube pops in there, and this little lip inside of here, well, you guys could see that, will hold it. See a little lip there? Right in here. So it'll hold the tube in. So on the front, we had this straightener, which doesn't have any kind of conical shape to it. It's just very straight, and it has some honeycomb design in it to increase the flow. And it has a lip here, and we would just slide the tube on the top of this, and this still has the zip ties on it, as you can see, and zip tie it securely to the front of the diffuser, or I call it a diffuser, but they call it a straightener. Right, so the new system that's coming out now, if you get the double speed, and you can actually order these separately too, will have this mounted to the motor, right in front of the motor instead of this. Well, already you can see there's a lot more going on here. We have a conical shape. We have an additional lip here that as we put the hose on top of this, or the tube, then we can clamp it down with our zip ties. And on the back here, it has the same kind of secondary cone that came on the original, here it is, fan. You can see the cone back here. But there are some differences to it, which doesn't surprise me because I'm sure they're always trying to improve on the design of these cones in here. So what we have here is a hole in the middle. And on this one, we actually have another piece in there, right? But it's also got a hole in the middle. Okay, so how much more air that's going to flow, who knows? We're going to find out, though. Right, so these two are the old deal. Put them aside. And then we have this to mount the front part of the tube, too. And it has also, if you look right there, it's got that lip, so we can put our zip ties on it once we get the hose or tube attached to it. And yeah, it also has the cone in the front, and it's got a smaller hole. It doesn't have that other piece on there that's going to be attached directly. You can see that, again, that little extra feature in there. And this was more like the one that came on the fans when I originally got the fans themselves. Right, and this has a cool GoPro mount in it. And of course, all this is 3D printed PLA, and this is cool. I really like the GoPro mount because it allows you to mount it somewhere and tune the direction of the air better than just trying to, like when this first came, all it had was this on the front, and you had to figure out some way to strap this down and aim it at the same time, and much easier to do it if you've got the GoPro mount on it, right? And you can also buy these all by themselves. I think it's 15 for this one and 20 for this one. Let me take a quick look here. Yeah, 20 and 15. So another 20 bucks for this front GoPro mount one and 15 for this if you've already got the hose upgrade and you want to actually upgrade the upgrade. But this is why we're going to test it, to see if it might be worthwhile. You can make your own choices or your own decisions after you see what differences there are, if any, in the wind speed coming out of the front of this thing. And we'll get to the speed test next. So now we're ready for the speed test part of our review. And how I set this up is, first off, you'll see this straightener sitting right here on the edge of my workbench. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to use this as a reference, the front edge. So when I take this straightener, I'm going to put it right in line with the front edge there, and right in the middle of my little wind meter that you can see imposed on here. And what we're going to do is turn it on 100%, let it run, see how the speed is, and we're also going to demonstrate the Bernoulli effect by bending the tube and see how the airspeed actually increases. So when you mount these tubes, you're going to want to put a bend in them to get the maximum performance out of them, but we'll see that in a second. So yeah, this is about as close to as scientific as I can get here at the SRG, so we're just going to have to use that. But I think if there are any marked improvements in the wind speed, then I'm pretty sure we'll be able to see that and how much it really is. So anyway, without further ado, let's get to the test. I'm going to go ahead and start this 100%. The noise is going to go up a little bit. I did say, oh, I'll hit off. There we go. It's starting now. All right, so I'm going to make sure I'm lined up with this guy. And I'm centered on the wind. There we go. Push that over a little bit so we're good and centered on the actual meter itself. I'm looking straight down here to make sure it's square with the wind meter. So that looks like about almost 10. Yeah, almost 10. So now I'm going to go ahead and put that bend in the tube I was talking about and see if we can get the speed to increase. And there it goes. You know, it's really surprising to me how much speed, this difference in speed, just this makes. It's pretty marked, like 2.5 faster, 2.5 miles an hour faster. So yeah. All right, straighten that back out. Line this back up, make sure I got it square again. And yeah, same thing, almost 10. Or it looks like it's bouncing around between 10 and 9 something. 10.4 now, okay. So this will give us a general idea, obviously, of what's happening when we have these straighteners in here. Let's go ahead and turn this noise off. So what we'll do next is go ahead and take this tube, because it's the same tube, and I'm going to take these straighteners off of, the straightener off of here. I'm taking the straightener off of the fan back here, and then I'll reattach the tube, and we'll do the test all over again and see what we get. All right, so now we're back, and we've changed the configuration like we said we would. We took the honeycomb straightener off the front of this tube and put the new straightener on, the high-speed straightener. And we took this straightener off the back of the motor back there, or the fan rather. And yeah, now we have the fan one installed. Everything's installed like it should be. And we have the exact same difference between the front straightener and the wind meter as we had before. And if you guys saw, I was actually, if you saw the first speed test with these in there, you can see that I was actually pulling this to make sure it was in line with this guy here because of the way I'm mounting it to the table. So everything's the same. At least it's as much as the same as I can get it. Right, so let's keep the tube straight. Further ado, let's go ahead and fire this puppy up, see what we get. Wow, 20 miles an hour. Huh, I'm a little surprised. It's that's double, or more than double. Well, about double. Yeah, they're really doing the job, it seems. Let's go ahead and do the bend in the tube for the Bernoulli effect and see what that does. That actually is slowing the wind speed down. 18.7, 18.8. It looks like it knocks about a little more than a mile an hour off the wind speed when we do that. Well, that's a surprise. Let's go ahead and straighten it up and see what it comes back up to. Yep, there it is, 20. Wow, it's almost as fast as directly off the front of the fan when I have it mounted to my rig over here. I'm going to have to maybe leave those on the front of my fans when I have them mounted to the rig. Anyway, let's go ahead and turn it off. Get this noise off. Well, that was a little surprising. I didn't think it would be that much of an increase in the wind speed, but apparently these straighteners are doing what they've been designed to do. And yeah, I'm really surprised, and I'm super surprised. I know, I'm surprised a lot, aren't I? I'm super surprised that when we did this for the Brunelli effect, that it actually dropped the wind speed coming out of the front. The only thing I can think of is because of these straighteners have that cone in the middle of them, that it's causing a disruption, making their own, if you will, Brunelli effect without having to put a bend in the tube. But then again, if we're running these, that means the straighter the tube, the more airflow you're going to get. Now, it only knocks like a mile an hour off of it, or a mile and a half, or whatever that was. So it's not like a great reduction of speed if you got a bend in it. But yeah, I'm surprised that that's what these diffusers, or straighteners as they call them, are doing to the wind flow here, the airflow. So anyway, I think that pretty much is an easy test to see that yes, there is a substantial difference actually. Instead of marked, it's a substantial difference, I think, in airflow when you have these new straighteners installed on the motor, on the fan back there, and on the front of your tube. Again, I'm a little surprised it was that much of an increase, but hey, that's great. Now, what we'll do next is just go ahead and get to the final thoughts. Final thoughts on the new improved airflow straighteners from Sim Racing Studio. I remember when I did the review on their tube upgrade kit back in November of 2018. I mentioned that I would like to see what wind speeds we could get with the, at the time, stock straighteners that came with the fans when you ordered them. Now that's exactly what we have. We have one for the fan adapter and one for the front end of the tube itself. The only question was, what kind of airflow improvement, if any, is realized here? Well, I'm happy to report that we were able to double the airspeed from the front straightener over the previous editions of them. And really, that's no small feat, I think. Hats off to the guys at Sim Racing Studio. It's nice to see a company putting in the effort to improve their products, and improvement is certainly plain to see in their new airflow straighteners. Now, there are 3 ways to get these improved straighteners. Of course, they come with all the new SRS Double the Fan Tube Edition packages and the upgrade kit for the SRS Double the Fan Power Wind. You can also purchase them as separate components and add them to your existing system as you need. Are they worth the money? Well, only you can decide that. I'm Barry Rowland. Thanks for watching the Sim Racing Garage channel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you would like to support what I do here at the SRG, visit my website at simracinggarage.com.